grab a coffee or something stronger. I've got shocking, infuriating news, and then I've got bad news. I'm going to cover home affordability, and you will be infuriated. I'm going to talk about the Bank of Canada and the numbers they're looking at, and you're going to be infuriated. And then I'm going to follow up on yesterday's story, and you will be devastated. Let me just start with something light. Home affordability. Thanks to Connor Kelly on this one. I was sent his video a couple times. He was pointing out that adjusted for inflation, our home prices are less now than they were in 2017. This is real residential prices, so this is inflation adjusted in US dollars. In Q4 2024, we were at 153.81. In Q3 of 2019, we were at 152.95, so damn close. Like that essentially rounds off to 153. But in Q2 of 2017, we were at 155. Yeah, so home prices now, adjusted for inflation, are less than they were in Q2 of 2017. You wanted cheaper homes? You got cheaper homes. Oh, one problem. We don't buy homes with inflation-adjusted dollars. We buy with the dollars that we get paid. How much do we get paid? You know my feelings on this. Let me show you something. In 2017, according to Stats Canada, the average Canadian made $59,800. In 2024, according to Stats Canada, the average Canadian made $67,282. This is Bank of Canada's inflation calculator. According to the Bank of Canada, $59,800 in 2017 is $73,649 in 2024. Pays are not even keeping pace with inflation. Never mind the cost of living. They're not keeping pace with inflation. CMHC says that we need 4.8 million new homes over the next 10 years to restore home affordability. No, we don't. We absolutely do not. Because this from the Globe and Mail is true. Canada's housing frenzy is over. It is. And it will remain over as long as we keep the immigration at a reasonable pace. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because all these materials that go into making a home, whether it's a condominium or a house or whatever, you can't afford the materials. You can't afford the materials. Because the pays are not even keeping pace with inflation, much less the actual cost of living. Canada core CPI measures may be overstating price rise, according to Tiff Macklin. Really? Right about now, I'm going to voice my displeasure with some of the comments that I've seen over recent days, like, our unemployment is not high enough. Our interest rates are not high enough. Let me show you a little something. These are all from the Voronoi app. If you don't have it, it's great. But these are OECD numbers. Okay? GDP growth projections for the G20 economies. Canada's down here. 1%, 1.1% next year. We need to stimulate the economy. There's the G20 average right there. Double. Almost triple. OECD unemployment rates. Right about now, some knucklehead is going to say, oh, we calculate unemployment different. This is from the OECD. So these numbers are all consistent. There's the OECD average, 4.9%. There's Canada right there, 6.7%. The US is up here, 4.2%. Looks to me like we need to stimulate the economy a little bit. Oh, but we're worried about inflation. If they drop the rates, inflation will speed up again. Global inflation projections from the OECD. Canada's down here. 2.1% this year, 2.1% next year. Way better than the US. We're down here close to Switzerland. Switzerland cut their rates to 0%. This is core inflation with mortgage interest costs pulled out, because mortgage interest cost is literally the Bank of Canada manipulating inflation. It's been down here below 2% until tariffs hit. Now we're at 2.3%. Yeah. Maybe you got it wrong. Just saying. All right, you better sit down. Yesterday I mentioned this, the Bushehr nuclear plant. Right after I made that video, the Russians announced this, that hopefully Iran doesn't hit that plant, because it would be a Chernobyl-style catastrophe. Oh, no, it won't. It'll be way worse. It'll be the worst catastrophe humankind has ever seen. Ever. Allow me to explain. I mentioned yesterday the economic disaster of the Gulf Coast countries no longer producing oil because of the contamination of the Persian Gulf. They wouldn't have water. This is from 2012. These numbers are from 2010. In a moment, you'll see that that doesn't matter. Because in 2010, 43.2 million people lived in those Gulf Coast countries. And they won't have any water. They have a few days of water in reserve. If the Persian Gulf becomes polluted, over 40 million people will be displaced. It will be the largest humanitarian crisis mankind has ever known. Ever. Ever. The Younger Dryas floods from 12,000 years ago, they did not displace 43 million people. Oh, Israel said they hit that, by the way. It was a mistake to say that they hit that. Yeah, I want to clarify. They're saying it was a mistake to say that they hit the target. They have not confirmed or denied that they have hit that target. We will find out over the next few days, kind of like the Chernobyl event, whether this has been hit and whether this is leaking into the Persian Gulf or not. I may lose followers. Something bad may happen to me, but I need to get this off my chest. At this point, I don't care what happened on October 6th. At this point, I don't care what has happened throughout the history of the people of Israel. Going back thousands of years, going back to the pyramids, I don't care anymore. Because the crisis that will occur if this plant is hit will be something that humankind will have never experienced before. For what?